Welcome. As you know, this is TJ, and welcome to Step Up. Today, I'm just gonna jump into the conversation of us talking about money and inflation. Yeah. And I know it's a topic that potentially a lot of us we don't discuss or we don't even know what it's all about. And I'm gonna jump into it. I know a lot of you already know salary increases, but what about inflation increases? And I want to speak about this in the context of doing business. So first, let's define salaries and let's define what inflation. So salaries, you already know because you're already getting one, right? You're employed, so you already know. But let's define what inflation is, because I speak to people and they're like, what are you talking about, TJ? What's inflation? So inflation is the fall in the purchasing value in terms of money. So in other words, inflation is money is losing value. That's what's basically happening, right? Or should I say the buying power. So which means that if today, if I had 100 Rand or if I had 1,000, if I'm to go out into a shop and I buy something, next year, the same time, I might not be able to purchase the same thing with the same value of money. So, which basically means that the value of that money in terms of the buying power has reduced. And that's what inflation. Now, our inflation is sitting at around about at a whooping 6%. Yeah, 6%. And I then started looking out in terms of if you was employed today, and from last year or the previous year or the other year or the other year, and you are still dependent on your salary or you as an employee are still dependent on that one income, is that still enough in today's world in relation to the inflation? So number one, let's jump into, we've defined the inflation. We know the inflation is sitting on 6%. When I go to the shops, myself, I don't think it's on 6%. It's a little bit higher than that. But here is the thing. You potentially have a salary increment. Yes, you have had a salary increment year on year. The golden question that we should be asking ourselves is that, is the salary increment enough? So I went in to do a little bit of research. And I went to see the salary increments from last year and the year before and the other year. And at average, we are looking at a salary increment of around about 5%. Now, the documented inflation is already beating the salary increase. Is there a problem or is there a problem? Okay, maybe you're not seeing it or you're not connecting the dots here, right? So let me just explain it. If you were earning 10,000, it basically means that you have had an increment of 5%, but actually the value of losing, the value of your money in terms of buying have lost 6. So which means that you're in the negative of 1%. So potentially everything that you were able to buy with the same 1,000, you're not, with the same 10,000, you are not able to buy. So you're at a disadvantage, isn't it? So the question is, what should you do? Maybe job hopping, isn't it? From one job to the next, and to the next, and to the next, and to the next. Well, how much are you going to be earning when you are job hopping like that? Well, I used to be an employee myself, and this solution was my solution. I job hopped, and at one point I hopped from one employer, and I got a 15% increase, and I hopped the next year, and I got a 25%, and I hopped to the next employer, and they were saying, well, you have reached the maximum in terms of your market-related price. You're overpaid. And I was like, hold on, so I need to have more skills. So I started acquiring more skills so that I can be a little bit more employable. Then I actually realized that as I continued to hope, I was getting to the ceiling and the ceiling. Then I decided to be a consultant, someone who was getting paid on an hourly basis, and that helped for a season, but it is not the answer. What is the answer? Well, on this channel, you already know, we talk a lot about opportunities. And if you haven't discovered that on this channel, if you go back to any of the other videos that we've done, especially on a Tuesday night, I come out and I talk about an opportunity. Go into any of those videos, watch them. I was in the same position where I was seeing that the inflation is growing, but my income is not catching up. So how did I solve for that? I then started a business. I'm not saying that start a business. No. I am saying if you're an employee today and you're dependent on one income, which is a salary, then at some point, the inflation is going to catch up with you. And it's all, not just inflation, your expenses in your household. Boom, you have a baby. Yeah. Or boom, you buy a new house. Or boom, I don't know, right? But the bottom line of it is that you want to be able to be ahead of all of these expenses, and you want to be far ahead of the inflation. And businesses or having side hustles can help you doing that. And that's what I did, right? So the first thing that I want to speak about is that go into any of these videos that I've done. See what's worked for you. See whether any of those opportunities relate to you or speak to you, and how best can you do it. But before you go on to do these side hustles, the number one thing I want you to do is start to understand or get to learn, educate yourself around money. Oh, TJ, what do you mean? Well, money is a subject on its own. Just like you went to work and you are who you are today. Maybe you're a doctor, maybe you are an administrator. You went to school to study that. And money is a subject that needs to be learned. How does money work? How does it impact with the inflation? Watch a lot of videos around that. Then when you understand, when you got the understanding of how money works, then you can then start to say, hold on. To me, this is what I'm going to do. So for instance, when I started understanding how money works, I applied another principle that I'm going to tell you now, which is I started educating myself on how I can save money to invest. Not just save, right? Because if you're saving again, you're losing. Because a lot of times today, I also had a look on the banks at the moment in terms of how much are they giving. At average, they're giving around about a 5% at the moment. So again, you're losing out. If you have to save maybe for a longer period, like maybe 5 years plus, yes, there are banks that are going to give you around about 10%. But your money is not really working hard for you. I'm talking here so that we can get to a point where the money can start working a little bit harder for us. Beat the inflation, beat your expenses. The other scenario you could do is that you can reduce your expenses drastically. Yes, almost to nothing. But we all know you can't do that. You have to survive, right? So watch a lot of videos, start learning about money, then start to learn something that can give you money and create it as a side hustle, like what I did. I was employed. Then I went in to understand what real estate was all about, and it became my side hustle. However, what I then want to say to you is that maybe your side hustle, you can hammer your side hustle so that your side hustle become your solid business. Then that way, you are not getting paid only with one salary or one income, but now you've got two. Yeah? You've got your income for the job that you're having, and now you've got a side hustle. So now you've got two incomes, so which basically means that if you lose one, you are safe with the other. If the other one disappears, you get retrenched or whatever the case is, you are still able to survive. And hold on, if you're getting 2 salaries, I want to come back again to the inflation part. You are now beating the inflation because you got 2 income, but you just need to make sure that the money is working hard for you. I know that was meant maybe to give us a little bit of education, but on this channel, I talk about anything and everything that I do. And if this is giving you of any value, in the comments, let me know. Give me some comments. Let me know whether this is valuable to you. Besides it being valuable, are you applying it? That's my main goal. The goal here is to make sure that if you can apply some of these things, or you can find a help to get you into the next phase so that you can beat inflation. That's my only goal. Thank you very much for watching. And if this information has been helpful, like it and share it, because there's so many people out there who are potentially in the same boat that I was in, managed to get out of it. I've got multiple businesses that give me multiple income, so I am beating inflation. I also want you to beat inflation. It is your boy TJ. I will check you out on the next video.